Welcome and welcome back, everybody, to the OK Grognard Show. Today is Monday, April 29th, 2024, 10 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And today we're going to look at the first edition AD&D DMG. That's the Dungeon Master's Guide from first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to look at a section on encounter reactions. For those of you who are familiar, you'll know that this can be a very fun part of the game is figuring out how random encounters will play out based on the way that groups will react to one another. Now, you can have, of course, the PCs react however they want. But NPCs, monsters, what about multiple monsters? What if you were in a clearing and you've attracted two different groups of NPC adventurers toward you, and they get an eyeball of each other and don't care for one another very well? There's all sorts of things that can happen. Welcome to the chat, Vince. Thanks for stopping in today. I appreciate it. We're going to be looking at this section. What is the first one? What is the... encounter reactions. Let's just go through some of this. Any intelligent creature which can be conversed with will react in some way to the character that is speaking. Reaction is determined by rolling percentile dice, adjusting the score for charisma and applicable loyalty adjustment as if the creature were a henchman of the character speaking, and the modified score of the percentile dice as compared to the table below. So this does presume that there is a verbal encounter that can be understood. Not necessarily. Someone can speak eloquently and come off as an intelligent being or as someone not to be trifled with, even if you can't understand what they're saying. So that might cause an adjustment to it. But in any event, the adjusted die score, 1 to 5 or less, is going to mean a violently hostile reaction, an immediate attack. Note that the asterisk is saying, or morale check if appropriate. So it may be that one kobold runs into a clearing and there's 20 fighters standing around sharpening their swords, and he has a violently hostile reaction, but runs away because he's, not completely stupid. 06 to 25, hostile, immediate reaction or morale check if appropriate. 26 to 45, uncertain, but 55% prone toward negative. So, now we've got a sub-roll on a table here. 46 to 55, neutral, uninterested, uncertain. 56 to 75, uncertain, but 55% prone toward positive. So you roll in a couple of times here, and Gary loved to roll dice behind the screen just to sometimes see what the reaction of the players would be. And I can only imagine the glee when he said, okay, they know I'm rolling for a reaction. Now they're going to be tense, because if they know the table, they'll know I'm rolling and it might be prone toward negative or prone toward positive. But they won't know yet. They'll just hear the dice. 76 to 95, friendly, immediate action. Hey, pal, want to share our wine? 96 to 100 or greater, based on some adjustment. Enthusiastically friendly, immediate acceptance. What can I do for you, O heroes of great renown? How can my humble self serve to make your life better, you might say? Well, now, avoiding is also something that can happen. It is always possible to flee from an undesired confrontation if the other party is surprised. It is never possible to flee from an encounter where the opponent party is in striking range. I've had a number of DMs who have a habit of, hey, morning, unauthorized user. Thanks for joining in. I've had a number of people who have DM'd who get into the habit of always having an encountered group of monsters or monster in striking range. You were always surprised, or if not surprised, they were always right on top of you before you could do anything, no matter what sort of precautions or watches you might set. Didn't matter. They caught you when the one person was on watch that was relieving themselves in the bushes at the time, and here comes 3 owlbears crashing through the brush. Couldn't hear them from a mile away like anybody with ears would have. There they are, right on top of you. So watch out. Don't get in the habit of that. And then with this fleeing thing, a party can always flee an encounter if it gains the first initiative. Whether or not the opponent will follow in pursuit of the fleeing party depends on the following factors. Number 1, what you, the Dungeon Master, have stated in your key concerning the party, if applicable. This is the first and foremost in all cases. So if you've made some notes that suggest that there's a bounty out and everybody knows it, probably there's going to be some pursuit here. And you don't even have to check or roll or determine that. Now, whether they'll be caught or not, that's depending on a number of other factors. Number 2, what the stated characteristics of the creatures involved are. That is, wrong way. If player characters, do they say they will pursue, or if monsters, does their description say that they will always seek to pursue? So keep that in mind. Number 3, obvious deterrents to pursuit, such as a pool of flaming oil, a secured portal, will modify the monster's behavior accordingly. So if you've cast a spell on a door in between you and the potential pursuit, and they're banging away at it for a minute and doesn't seem like they're going to get through, they may lose interest. They may seek a alternative route. Fleeing party behavior and or possessions noted by the opponent party will modify pursuit desire. So if everybody in your group that's fleeing possesses boots of striding and springing, the group pursuing you might see you striding and springing away and think, yeah, no, we're not catching them. Forget it. We're done. Let them go. Another day. Number 5, relative speed will cause the pursuing party to cease fruitless chase. Again, that example. If they are obviously being outdistanced, except if the pursuers are player characters who must state that they are halting such a chase. So yeah, it's always up to the player characters to do as they please, or at least attempt to do as they please. So never forget that. Number 6, otherwise 50% of the time, 1 to 3 on a D6 is pursuit, 4 to 6 break off pursuit. So 50-50. They're coming after you or they're not. So with the encounter reactions, what about parlaying? Upon encountering another party, the party with initiative can always elect to attempt some form of communication. This can be a friendly gesture, a throwing down of arms, offering of treasure, or some spoken word or phrase. Just what this effect will have will be determined only by the DM considering the prevailing circumstances. It is safe to say that a group of elves attempting to parley with a red dragon will find their efforts generally unsuccessful, unless they also have some obvious advantage which the dragon is aware of. It is common for player characters to attack first, parlay afterwards. Yes, that's pretty true in a lot of cases, for sure. It is recommended that you devise encounters which penalize such actions so as to encourage parlaying attempts, which will usually be fruitless, of course. I once had a group burst through a door. I knew they were always attacking. As soon as they saw anything, they would attack. And they came through a door of a building in a town where they were constantly getting into fights. And they came in through a back door of a place and burst through another door. And there were bright lights there, and there were all these guys in uniforms with weapons, and they just started hacking away at them. And it was a few moments later when they realized that they were on a stage. They had busted in to the back end of a theater. They were killing some bit player actors who were dressed as guards, and the bright lights were keeping them from seeing the audience. And after a few moments, of course, cries went up, people were fleeing the theater, and all hell broke loose. A very good time. So devise some encounters that set up situations where they get themselves in trouble. Oh, sure, you're setting them up without a doubt. And there's nothing wrong with that. Never think that your job is not to present interesting situations that can cause conflict, because it is absolutely that. Creating conflict is the DM's job. Allow the players to deal with it as they will. Don't take a side. I mean, don't be adversarial. I don't agree with the adversarial DM approach. Try to be as neutral as possible. It can be fun to express a little disappointment when one of your big bads is missing repeatedly during a big final encounter or whatever happens to be the case. But let the players know. Well, hey, sometimes the dice are the dice. Awaiting action. Last part of encounter reactions. This is self-explanatory, not an attempt to parlay, but neither an attack. It is seldom utilized by experienced adventurers. So yeah, you can wait and just see what happens. That's always a possibility. But it's never really recommended, is it? Anywho, let me just close this down then, because I think we're done for the day. Thank you very much for being in the chat. It's very much appreciated. Let's go with, first edition. DMG, Encounter Reactions. That's what we've been looking at today. I appreciate everybody who's popped in and checked things out. Don't forget, the show streams live on Twitch each Monday at 10 a.m. Central, and then it's archived on YouTube. Like, subscribe, all of those other good things. It's very much helping the channel if you do it, and I appreciate it. Thanks to our Patreon supporters, Tom Tellis of Fat Dragon Games, Carlos Slicing of Castle Entertainment, Heath Farnan of the AD&D 20, Dave O'Brien of Quacks Games, and, as always, Shane Bradley, DM Extraordinaire. This has been the OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Bye-bye.